Hi guys, it's me again. Um, Today I'm going to talk about me and the borderline. But I wanted to kind of do it a little bit different today. So I'm gonna kind of explain who I am in a way that isn't going to define me by this borderline personality disorder diagnosis that I have. So first off, I want to say that today I'm in a good mood. Today is a good day. Um, I have had some uh, emotional roller coaster stuff going on right now, and um, school's almost over, and I'm having a little bit of a anxiety about not having my social part of my life there because you go to school every day and you see your friends or the people that you socialize with, but not so much outside of school. So if I'm not in school, then am I going to have anybody? Am I going to have any friends? Am I going to do anything? Am I going to go out and so I've been worried a lot about it, and I've been anxious. But I also know, one of my friends, she had said to me, she told me, she said, I don't understand, like, you're so social, but you have no social activities. Well, my one diagnosis is that I have severe social anxiety disorder, which is kind of weird when you think about it. If you know me as a person, I'm pretty social. Like when I'm around people that I'm comfortable with, I I'm not anxious around. I feel comfortable, and I can just be myself. You would think, like, I'm a very social person. I talk a lot. I'm very talkative. Um, but when it comes to like doing groups or going and doing social events, I used to go to the gym all the time. For like 2 years I had no problem going to the gym, especially by myself. Now I can't even get to the gym. I do my stairs for my exercise. I do stairs in my building, and because I can't, it gives me anxiety thinking about going to the gym and being around people, which is weird for me when for 2 years I was going to the gym by myself and not having any anxiety, and I just worried about myself. But in the last 6 months, I've had a lot of anxiety, and um, my symptoms of the borderline and the anxiety disorder have like spiked really high because of things that have happened at school that have not been a positive experience for me. Um, with the strike, we had a teacher's strike. It really put a damper on me, and when we had the strike, when we came back, we didn't really have a break for Christmas, and then when after Christmas we were still in semester one, and then we went from semester one right into semester two. We ended on the Friday and we started on the Monday in the new semester, so we didn't get a breather. So for me, I had a really hard time actually getting back in, like getting my mojo or my motivation back. So the whole semester I've had lack of motivation, and I ended up failing a test and doing only passing up with a 50 on another test. And then I got a notice in my email saying that I was at risk with the program, because of my uh, attendance, and for my because I failed a test and I did really bad on another test. So I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. And I put the anxiety away. I started studying. It's something I actually should be doing now. I started studying for my test, and I ended up getting 70s on both of my tests, almost an 80. I got a 78 on a test and a 71 on the test. And both of these tests I did not very good on the other two tests. So for me, I was like extremely happy that you know, that I know that I'm capable of doing this. It's just my motivation was gone. I was feeling depressed. My the symptoms of the borderline were heightened, and I had a really hard time. But you know, I also have a big drive to thrive in my life. I don't like giving up. I push myself, and I recognize the things that are going wrong in my life. You know, I'm smart and I'm resilient and I'm observant and I'm accepting. I accept my problems. I'm accountable for what I do. So, you know, for my attendance, for instance, I told my teachers, like, yeah, I haven't been to school because I have lack of motivation. I don't even want to be here. But I'm being here because I'm still here because this is my dream. This is what I've always wanted. Program is best. This program is best for me, and I am great for this program. And I I I love this, what the content and the material are. It's just when you have lack of motivation, you're going through mental health, and you're trying to get yourself better. It's really difficult. But when I got into school, I said I wasn't going to give up. I wasn't just going to stop and quit, because that's not who I am. That's not what I want to show my kids. My daughter never gives up. And that's because I never give up. You know, I I want to prove to people that just because you have a mental illness, just because you have a diagnosis, just because you've went through traumatic events in your life or still going through those events, it is 100% possible to get through those things and have your dream come true. Whether that's going to school, whether that's getting your dream job, whether that's going to get and buying a house, whether that's having a family, finding someone to spend you can have all of these things, but you got to believe that that you can have these things. Because if you believe that you never can have these things because you're mentally ill or you're going through something, or because you grew up in a traumatic environment and you believe that you were worthless and useless, and that you couldn't, that you weren't able to have anything happy and you were never going to be happy, then if you're going to think those things, you will never be happy. You will never have anything. You will um you will be that pitiful, lonely, sad, depressed person for the rest of your life if that's the mindset that you're going to have. If you believe that believe the things that your mind has told you, or the life that you had told you, or the people in your life have told you, and you believe those things, then you're right. You aren't going to have a good life. You will never get better. You will never succeed in life if you believe those things. And for me, I don't want to believe in those things. I am a true believer in your mindset. You know, I went through some pretty traumatic events with my childhood, with sexual abuse, with physical abuse, with mental abuse. You know, I that's why I'm pretty sure why I have borderline, because of the way that I grew up. I didn't get to learn any of the skills to regulate my emotions, for instance. I cannot regulate my emotions. Unfortunately, my daughter is also having the problem now, is that she can't regulate her emotions because of it. But I'm learning. I'm not giving up. I'm doing the DBT. In May, I start mindfulness and people's people skills for DBT at the personality disorder clinic in my city, and um, I will get better. And I got this on my last video. I got this comment about how this person had been with somebody with borderline personality disorder, and I just want to make this comment towards that, even though I had written it. But I want people to know that he had to leave this situation because he couldn't handle it anymore, and he said that it a weight had been lifted off his shoulders because it was so draining to be with somebody with borderline personality disorder. I 100% agree with you. I don't ever feel ashamed or feel bad for leaving somebody with borderline, because honestly, if the person has not got the help to be able to deal with the symptoms of borderline and get the help for that. And even in the process of getting the help, it is exhausting. We, as a me, I'm going to talk about me because I don't know how other people are. But for me, I know that I'm exhausting for people. I am constantly worried about people, me being too much for people, or somebody's going to leave me. And if they're going to leave me, I'm going to leave them first. So I'm going to, destroy the relationship any way that I possibly can. I can make something up in my brain. The push and pull is pretty big. I have a hard time thinking that thinking in the middle of that gray area. I usually go from one side of the spectrum of the emotional mind and the rational mind. I can't be in the gray area. I go from one side right to the other. And sometimes, like, I go so far off. Like, if I'm in the rational mind and have no emotional, I am mean. I am not a nice person. This is where the monster comes out. That's the other person that I call for, um, when I get to that place where I guess when I'm also that when I'm all the way at the emotional mind without any rational. But for the irrational, I can't even think, like, I'm like, there's no emotion. There's like no feelings in my body. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. I don't give a shit. You're nothing, whatever. And so it's exhausting for people. Of course, like, when we're constantly, up people's butt and want to be the center of their world 24/7, or we're pushing them away and saying that we don't want nothing to do with them, but then when they walk away, you're like, no, don't leave me. It's that, Demi Lovato has a song, says, it's the, I think it's, I love you, please don't leave me, or I hate you, but don't leave me. I forget the song. I really like the song, but I can't get but that song reminds me of me because that's what happens. Um, that's what I do with people, with friendships, and I was thinking the other day that I've actually never had, we, in the borderline world of, on Facebook, they've talked about favorite people. And I've talked about this before, and I've never not had a favorite person. I need to have somebody, and if I don't, I feel like I'm nothing. I honestly feel that. So, anyways, getting off subject, but for the person that wrote that, I want you to know that for people that want to change and become better people and become the best version of themselves and actually go through with the help, counseling, psychiatrists, the DBT is huge. I believe 100% in DBT. Um, if they're doing that, down the road, maybe that person could have been good for you. And down the road, maybe it would have worked out. But when somebody that, for me, I'm getting help, but I'm still a lot of work for other people because I'm exhausting all the time. But people also see the good in me and see that I'm a fighter. I don't give up. I want to be a better person. I don't want to have these symptoms. I don't want to be stuck to somebody's hip or going in and out of I want you but I don't want you, or no, you're good, no, you're bad. I don't, or just all the, like, regulating my emotions, like overreacting and not being able to come down from that. I don't want to do that. Like, I have two children, and I hate that they see that, because sometimes I get so into my head and I get so frustrated, but I can't regulate those emotions, and I flip out over something so small that I didn't need to flip out for. So, I want anybody to know that it is okay to walk away from somebody that is exhausting and taking the life out of you. It is not okay. Just for me, I'm the same way. If I'm being with somebody that is taking the life out of me and bringing the worst out of me, and I've been with a couple people like that, um, then you leave the relationship because it's not good for you. It's not healthy. It's not good for your mental health. You're just going to have two people going through mental health problems because they're not happy, but they're down each other's throat, or they it's not good. So don't feel bad to leave somebody with borderline personality disorder, because you have to do what's best for you. But on the other hand, like, you know, so some of the things that I wanted to say is that sometimes I'm uncontrollable. Sometimes that's why I can't control my emotions. I'm very uptight. Uh, Something I think that isn't to do with borderline. I really honestly think that just has to do with me, like as my core personality, that you get born with, not uh, with borderline, where a lot of it can be from your environment and not being able to learn those skills that you need to learn. Um, so for me, I am very uptight. I'm a mom. I like things. I like structure. I like a foundation. I like to be in control. I like to be in control of what's going on. I want to, you know, I I have a I'm very strict in a way too, which makes me look like a a bitch and uptight, but it's because I didn't really have that growing up, and I feel like I'm learning all these new skills, parenting, all this stuff over the years. I've been learning it all on my own, or the help of counselors or whatever, because I didn't grow up and learn these things. Um, I can be rageful. Those managing or bringing yourself down and not being able to regulate yourself. I push people to the breaking point of them breaking. It's like I try to see how far I can push them before they decide that they can't handle me. But then I want them back. And I push and I pull, and that's exhausting. That's what I was talking about. That's not good for people. That isn't okay for people. But you have to learn to not do that, and that's what the DBT is. And if you don't do DBT, then you will keep continuing to do that for the rest of your life. It will never change. And I would say at that point, okay, this person isn't going to change their life or think that they can change their life, and their mindset isn't to, you know what, this is a diagnosis, this isn't who I want to be, and go and get help, then yeah, I would leave that person. I would 100% say, no, this is not okay. This is not good. I have low self esteem. I'm confident in a lot of things, but I also have really low self esteem. I feel that I need to be validated from people and constantly reminded that I'm beautiful, or that I'm doing good, or that I'm smart. Um, you know, I also like my space, but I can't stand being alone. So for me, I like to be stuck up the person, my FP, my favorite person. If I have a favorite person, I need to be constantly talking to them, constantly knowing what's going on. Like, I can't go a day without talking to them, or, and if I go without seeing them, I have to make sure that they talk to me at least, a couple times a day. It's really exhausting, but I have gotten better over the years, and I've met somebody that has really helped motivate me to have boundaries with people. Um, I seem empathetic sometimes also, but I'm really, like, I'm constantly thinking about other people and seeing, like, oh, this could happen. This is where I am perfect for my program at school, because I am perfect for ABA, for behavioral analysis, because I'm constantly trying to figure out how to help somebody, and, like, oh, well, this could work, or this could work, with the consequences, or the, positive and negative reinforcers, or, like, I believe in this stuff. I think that, um, but people see me as empathetic because sometimes I take my feelings, my emotions so back that you can't, if somebody's crying because they're going through something really difficult, and let's say for me, I've been there, I like block that emotion out completely because I don't want to, deal with whatever emotions that I have towards that situation. So some people think that I'm really kind of like I have no emotions or I don't care about anybody else except myself, or but that's not the case. It's just I have so much of that it kind of affects me as a person with with not being able to regulate my emotions. So if I can't regulate my emotions and I'm dealing with somebody else's stuff and whatever, I take that on as my own stuff, and then it goes into this cycle of this crazy spiral coming down, and well, we don't want that. So I block it out, and then people think, well, she doesn't even care, or she doesn't have any feelings towards this. That's just not how it is, you know. Um, I just I want to be able to help somebody without me having to put my stuff on them, even though I take their stuff on sometimes. It's a crazy situation, but anyways, and not crazy. We shouldn't be saying crazy, but sometimes I feel crazy. Um, and another thing is that I know, like, I own my shit. I'm somebody, if I did something wrong, or somebody calls me out on something, maybe, or I might not like what they have to say, and I might like whatever, like, and I get mad, but I am always a person that will sit back and be like, okay, why did they say that? What could be the reason they said this about me, or said that I need to change this, or that I need help with this, or whatever? And I'll sit back and I will be like, okay, I understand where they're coming from. I get it. And I almost always, not always, but almost, I will say sorry, and like, I understand where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from. And I think this is why I am so good with talking to other people about what's going on in their life, and how to help them in a way, because I own my own crap. If you own your crap, it's a lot easier to work with, and it's a lot easier to change if you own your shit. Because if you don't own your shit, then you don't think that there's anything wrong with you, or think whatever you know if you don't own it, and you don't accept it, and then be accountable for it, then you can't change anything. You'll stay the same. You'll have the same mindset. You will never succeed. And that's all, this is what this video is about. It's just about changing your mindset about things, because just because I have a diagnosis of borderline, and yeah, I know these things about me, I know that I'm not easy to handle. I'm a hard person to handle sometimes, but I'm also a great person. Deep down, I may have a lot of things going on, and you know, I could cause drama, just like any person. Just want to put that out there, because some people assume that there's a stigma around where we're drama-filled people. We like nothing but chaos, and in a way, yeah. If I could go back to before I started changing my life around, I needed chaos. I needed chaos all the time. I always had drama with something. I also was a drinker, so that helped with the drama and the chaos. And with that, I I was back then, I was everything that borderline stigma was, that people believed about borderline, was 100%, until I decided needed to change my life. And at the time, I didn't even know I had borderline. So for that, it was just that I felt I was crazy, and that I was screwed up because of the way that I grew up, and that but I knew that deep down, if I work hard enough, I know I can get somewhere. I always make the right decisions, and it may take a really long time, but eventually I make the right decisions for me and my kids, always. Um, Sometimes I have to deal with the consequence. No, most of the time I have to deal with the consequences after, while learning these things. But I know that just because I have these this stigma around, or the stigma around borderline, that we are nothing but drama, and we take the life out of people, and we tear people down. But that's not true, because a lot of us just don't know how to deal with it, or we don't have the supports to allow us to have the mindset change, or the environment that we're in. Sometimes it's almost impossible to get out of that environment. I was thankfully enough to get out of that environment because I pushed myself, I took a leap of faith of something. And I mean, I learned a lot about this past 2 years about myself, but that's another story. And but I know that I'm changing. I'm a good freaking person. I believe in myself. I will get the dreams that I dream about. I'm going to chase those dreams, and I'm going to prove to myself that I can do it, but also to those people that say that people like me with borderline, that we aren't capable of having a normal, typical life without chaos and drama or the push and pull, the middle ground. But we are. We are, because I've been there before. I've done it. I know that it is possible. It's just having to learn those skills and keep practicing them every day, all the time, for the rest of your life. And eventually, let's say 5 years down the road, even 2 years down the moment, I've been doing this for a long time. So, for the last 4 years, I've been kind of changing my life, and I'm still having, but even 5 more years down the road, 10 years down the road, eventually it'll be in your brain, and it'll be wired so that you can do these things. And sometimes you might go back to the old habits, but you'll be able to bring yourself back to the new ones. So, I know that it's possible, and I'm never giving up on myself or my future or the person that I want to be because of what people say about me or what people think of me just because of my diagnosis. They haven't even met me or seen what I've been through and what I've overcome, because I am one resilient freaking person. I'm the strongest person I know. And I just want you to know, like, you can get through whatever you're getting through if you change your mindset. If you constantly believe that you will never have anything, or you will never be good enough, or you're always worthless, or you're useless, and you're not pretty, you're just not good enough, then if you constantly believe those things, then of course you're going to be those things. You're going to constantly think those things. So if you just change it and say, no, I'm not going to allow these thoughts to overcome my life and make me bitter and make me depressed and take away my life. I'm worth something. I'm worth this life. I am I'm going to go somewhere in my life. I'm going to be positive and change my mindset and say, I can do this. I don't need the world to tell me who I am, because I know who I am. And so I just want to say, you've got this. You will succeed if you want to. If you believe in yourself, then you'll be able to do anything you want. All right? Bye.